Imagine you're standing in front of a sandwich counter. 10 different choices glide by. Only one sandwich, your one chance. You can pick the first one you see, or you can watch a few go by and then choose one you liked earlier if nothing better turns up. Sounds silly, yet this little scenario hides a huge everyday problem. When do you say yes and stop looking? Let's look under the hood for a moment. Why does this matter? Because we make decisions like this dozens of times a year, which university offer to accept, whether to stick with a revision method, whether to accept a job or hold out for something possibly better. The fear of choosing wrong can freeze us. The maths gives us a plan. So, what's the big idea? In plain English, optimal stopping is the question. If you see options one at a time and cannot go back, how should you decide when to stop and pick one? No Greek letters, no heavy algebra, just a rule of thumb you can use right now. Think of it as a recipe. Look for a bit, then pick the next thing that's as good as anything you've already seen. Here's a story from my time working with hiring teams. We had a month to hire for a junior analyst role. The team could interview 10 people over that month. At first, they tried to meet everyone and then compare notes. Endless meetings, second guessing, stress. I suggested a simple experiment. Interview the first 3 candidates purely to form a benchmark, then offer the job to the next person who clearly beats that benchmark. It felt awkward. We were intentionally passing on early talent to learn more about the pool. But it stopped us from taking the very first good candidate and later regretting it. Why does that work? Because when options arrive in sequence, your early impressions are noisy. By watching a short while, not forever, just a little, you get a sample of quality that tells you what good looks like. Then when someone better than that sample appears, you jump. It's a controlled patience, not paralysis. There's a neat one-number heuristic that comes out of this family of problems for the 10-option case. Observe the first roughly 37% of options and don't pick any of them. Then pick the next option that's better than anything you saw in that initial sample. With 10 items, that's about the first 3 or 4. It's sometimes called the look then leap rule. It won't guarantee you the absolute best every time, but you'll pick the best more often than by blind guessing. 37%. That sounds oddly precise. Where does it come from? The short answer, from comparing chances. If you pass on too many, you might miss the best. If you stop too early, you forego useful information. Think of it as the sweet spot between curiosity and commitment. Let's test this with everyday analogies. Window shopping for trainers. You look around for a while to see what's out there. Then when one matches your best seen so far threshold, you buy. Applying the heuristic to a revision strategy. Try a few methods without committing to exam season immediately. Note what works, then stick with the next one that improves on your current best. It's a repeatable mental procedure. That's the advantage. Before we move on to a hands-on challenge, quick reality check. This is for low to moderate stakes and repeatable decisions. If you're picking a life partner or making a 5-figure investment, you need deeper analysis and other tools. The heuristic reduces regret on everyday choices. It doesn't remove risk altogether. Student challenge time. Ready? I want you to try a 10-option experiment this week. Pick something small. 10 songs you might add to a playlist, 10 revision apps, 10 sandwich choices, anything where you can sample 10 options once each. Apply the rule. Don't pick any of the first 3 or 4. Then choose the next one that beats all you've seen. Record whether you pick the absolute best, second best, or worse. Try it 10 times and keep a small tally. Spoiler, you won't always win, but you should win more often than guessing. Now, parents, here are 2 simple conversation starters to turn a nervous, should I accept it, moment into a confidence-building lesson. First, instead of asking, are you sure? Try asking, how many options have you seen so far? This invites them to think about the process rather than panic about being wrong. Second, suggest a tiny experiment. Try 3 options this week and then pick the next thing that's clearly better than those. Frame it as practice, not a final exam. A short family mini-experiment works well. Over 7 days, let each family member pick a 10-option challenge, snacks, films, routes to school, and compare outcomes on Sunday. Celebrate the process. Did the rule reduce arguments? Did someone feel less anxious? Small wins build decision confidence, which is the real goal. Teachers, here's a classroom-ready experiment that maps straight to GCSE and A-level probability. Run the 10-option simulation as a group activity. Each student performs the experiment once and records the rank of the item they selected. Collect the class data and plot the distribution. How often did the heuristic pick the best, top 3, or worse? This opens a natural conversation about expected value and sampling variability without heavy formulas. Misconceptions to anticipate in class. Students will often assume the rule is a guarantee. Make sure you show variation. The class data will do that. Also, scaffold for mixed ability. Provide sentence starters for lower ability students to explain their choice and offer an extension task. Ask higher ability students to simulate different sample sizes or to think about what happens when choice order is biased. If you teach A-level statistics, this slot connects nicely to decision theory and probability distributions. For GCSE, it's a brilliant applied lesson in sampling and comparative reasoning. One last practical tip. When choices are actually asymmetric, say one option is much more costly or irreversible, the simple look then leap rule needs adapting. That's when you'd switch from a heuristic to a fuller decision analysis. Weigh costs, consider what you can recover later, or consult a specialist. The heuristic is a tool in the toolbox, not the whole workshop. So, what's the advantage in one line? A repeatable timing rule, look a little then leap, beats panic guessing by turning indecision into a plan. It won't make you perfect, but it will make you better at everyday choices. If you like this, go grab the downloadable PDF from workbook.jcacademyonline.co.uk. Try the student challenge, run the family mini-experiment, or use the classroom activity next lesson. And if you try it, tell me in the comments how it went. I love hearing practical results. Subscribe to the Math Advantage channel so you don't miss any new episode. Share this with a teacher or parent who might try the experiment this week. Remember, logic is a muscle. Practice it in small ways and it strengthens for the big decisions.